Of course, Brian Lacey here for MMA Mad, and I'm joined by James Elliot, VP for all things UFC in Europe, Middle East and Africa. First of all, sir, congratulations on the position. What a beautiful thing to have happened. Are you still pinching yourself?
A little bit, yeah. To be honest, it's nice to be at the tip of this particular spear. It's a well-run machine, so I'm just holding on.
Nice. Well, I like that. I've got a few bones to pick, though. Basically, since you started 5 months ago, what's happened? We've done an event in Dublin, broken new territories, Croatia, Holland, put the three most important letters in MMA UFC together with the three most important words of broadcasting, BBC in the UK. You've got a sellout event that went in 22 minutes coming up in 3 days' time. Anderson Silva's in the UK. How do you explain the slow start?
Yeah, sorry, we've got to start pulling our finger out a little bit. It's been an amazing 6 months. You know, it really feels like all the stuff that we've been working on for the last couple of years are really beginning to bear fruit now. Yeah. You know, it's taken, to use the old cliche, it's taken 8 years to become an overnight sensation for this business, but it really feels like we're coming of age now.
You talked about being the tip of this particular spear. When the other VPs meet together, I'm going to talk about your lunchbox now. I'm not lowering the tone of this interview, by the way, but I imagine my analogy is if when you sat around and it's like school and you open your lunchbox and you see what you've got inside. Are the other VPs very jealous? You've got the Scottish and Irish fans that have raised the bar. You've got a European champion, two European champions, McGregor, Jędrzejczyk. You've got an event that sold out without even a headliner on it. That must be a beautiful thing to see what's below you.
Yeah, things are going really well, but the things are going well across the whole globe. You know, you look at what Tom Wright and the guys did down in Melbourne, where they sold 56,000 seats in a brand new market for us with an all-female main event and co-main. You know, it's that kind of stuff just doesn't happen in sport at the moment. So apart from with us, and then Giovanni Deca, who's here, who runs our Brazilian business, he's the Brazilian business is going from strength to strength. Those guys are now looking at doing stadium events. You know, this thing is taking on a life of its own. It's great to see.
And the big thing, the news this week was the BBC deal. Just to unpack that a little bit, first of all, amazing, unbelievable that the UFC is tied to such a mainstream institution as the BBC now. How long have you been sat on that? Because obviously you wanted to release it. How long have you known about it?
Do you know what? It actually came together very, very quickly. You know, the BBC guys have been increasingly working with us over the last year or so, and they've, this year has really been the year that we've gone from telling people there's an audience for mixed martial arts and UFC to showing people. Right. And every time anyone gets involved with us, they realise the power of what we have, and they want more of it. So when BBC Three shifted online, they're trying to position themselves as the kind of channel of the future and the future of broadcasting, and thankfully they're looking at us as a way of tapping into that particular audience, and I guess they look at us as a sport of the future as well. So it's a good marriage.
Exciting times. And what does the way it's been described is like a promotional partnership. Will that mean as the BT deal comes to an end, is that where the sport's going to be shown? How's it going to be for viewers of the sport? What's the plans for that?
We're still working on our TV relationships for after the end of the BT contract. We're talking to a number of different people. The BBC relationship is exactly what it says. It's a promotional and editorial one. You know, it's slightly confusing because of the fact that the BBC Three channel has moved online, so it's a very different experience. You know, it's a static editorial experience and a content experience. So there's footage on there. They're going to be creating their own content. They're going to be taking lots of the countdown shows, the embedded, some of the digital products that we make. So they're really getting behind us from an editorial perspective. It's not going to be a destination for a place to watch live fights at the moment.
That's fantastic. And we're talking about live fights. We've got UFC coming up, UFC London, 3 days time. What's the final cogs that have got to turn? And do you get to relax, or is this where it gets heavy for you?
I'll be relaxed once everyone's weighed in. Once everyone's made weight, I'll go and sit in a dark room for a couple of hours and gather myself ahead of Saturday, because it's going to be a crazy atmosphere. The place is going to be electric.
And apart from the Anderson Silva Michael Bisping, and I'll leave you on this, the Michael Bisping fight, which fight are you looking forward to most? Because it's got a huge spine of UK English fighters in particular, looking like the next generation's coming through strong. Which ones are you particularly looking at?
I think I'm particularly excited for Brad. You know, for Brad to have the fight in London. You know, he's been a magnificent ambassador for mixed martial arts in this country and for the UFC. So I'm delighted that he's on that stage. He's going to put on a hell of a show. He always does. So I think that one stands out for me. But like you say, there's a huge raft of UK talent coming through now, and it'll be interesting to see how they go. Hopefully we can uncover some new stars.
Fantastic. Well, look, same again. A huge congratulations on the job. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, and we look forward to whatever treats you bring us in the next 5-6 months.
We're doing our best to bring some good stuff, don't worry.
Thanks very much. Cheers.